Right, so making money online or starting a business, the most important first step, and I really, really fucking mean this, okay? And this is from hard life experience. Lost a lot of money when I didn't follow this. Is the most important thing is you have to find something that you get up in the morning and you want to fucking do it every day. And when I say that, I don't mean that it's easy. I don't mean that you're going to be like, oh, you know, let's just look around at the options and I'll be like, oh yeah, now I know what I want to do, right? It's not like that. It's like okay, the best advice I got was one of my friends. Before I started Ronin Man. This is the story of how I started Ronin Man, really, too. So I was talking to my friend and I said, you know what, I wanted to start an online business. I wanted to have a YouTube channel. I wanted to build it. I wanted to do digital products. And I do this with my other business too, using my real name. So I wanted to do another one, but something more passionate, something I felt more strongly about. And so I had all these ideas for channels. And I told my friend, and his name is Adam, and I said, Adam, like, what do you think? Which channel do you think has the most views? Which one has the most possibility? Like, which niche is the hottest? Like, you know, what age are they? Do you think they have money? Blah, blah, blah. I was asking all like the logical questions, right? He gave me the best advice. He said, look, I know you, and you cannot do something you don't want to do. You are the absolute fucking worst at doing things that you don't like doing. He said, you have to find something that you get up in the morning and every day you want to do it for at least 2 hours, just on your own, with no one telling you what to do. You just get up in the morning and you're like, God damn, I got something to say, you know, I want to talk about this. And I remember when he said that, it really touched me because he's not that kind of guy. He's not like a touchy-feely kind of guy. And I realized that he was really trying to help me. Like he was sincere. He was really sincere. He's like, I know you. Like, I know you because I think he's the type that can do what he doesn't want to do. So that's why he was saying that. He could easily do like work for people he doesn't like or do things he doesn't want to do. I cannot. And he's like, dude, I know you. It's hopeless. Don't waste all this time fucking building something up that you're not going to follow through on. So I was like, oh man, because I started thinking this is like a fairy tale, like that you find something you love, you know? It's like, fuck, you know, like I always felt, Ronin Man always thought that basically all jobs suck, all businesses suck. You just do them for money and then you have fun when you're not working. You know, I always made fun of people who said they do what they love. Because I was like, you're full of shit. The only thing you want to do is you just make money and then you go do fun things. And that's what you travel, you do whatever it is that you want to do with the money. No one would go to work if there was no money. That was my mindset for years. And I was pretty vocal about it too. I tell my friends, you know, I was like, this fucking bullshit of doing what you love is the worst fucking advice. So I've had this discussion a lot. But when Adam said it to me, I really knew he was like seriously trying to help me.
Does the guy know you well for years and years?
He knows me for over 10 years. Okay. And I started a lot of businesses with him on my side.
Did he give you advice on what specifically to talk about, or was that like, was it just a push in the area and you were like, that's what I got to talk about by yourself?
Well,
like,
what he saw, yeah, right, great question. What he saw was that I was sitting there looking at statistics.
Okay.
I was looking at niches, I was looking at markets, I was looking at data, trying to decide what was the best thing to go into. And he's like,
based on what the income could be, or
based on how the business could go long term and how many people needed it and how strong they felt about it. Yeah, the age group, the gender, this and that. I was basically looking at it from a scientific point of view. Yeah. And he's like, no, find something that every single day, we were living in Bangkok at the time, and he said, just find something that every day you want to get up and you want to talk about. And I was like, right away, I said, like, basically the only thing I want to talk about is like fucking like, I don't remember the exact words I used, but it was basically like about how fucked up things are with women and like in life, and like how fucking stupid the world is when it comes to relationships and women, and like how guys are so fucking stupid, and like how to handle fucking manage your life. Like it was basically unblackmailable. It was all my in my mind. I don't know what words I used, but it was basically like this hodgepodge of ideas. And he kind of looked at me, and here, the same guy who gave me the advice, when I told him my idea, he said, bad idea. He's like, no, that's not going to work. You need to think of something that's more professional. And I was like, okay. So I went on my own, and I made the first Ronin Man Pride class. I went to the park, Lumpini Park. I walked around, I shot the very first video. And then as soon as I got that video done, I think it was the same day, I think it was right then, I went back And I shot the second one, which I called Unblackmailable. So that was the title, that's where I got the name from, right in the second video. And I was super pumped up, so I sent it to all my friends. And my friends were like, dude, this is dangerous as fuck. They're like, you have a real, like, you have a career, like you have respect, you know, you shouldn't fucking, this is the kind of stuff that could just kill you, right? This is the kind of stuff that could, you know, like getting in the way of like society and feminists and going against this whole thing, like even the experiences and stuff, you can't talk about that, you know, it's like, someone's gonna find out, it's gonna ruin your life, basically, was what my friend said. But they also said, that's fucking pretty interesting, you know? Like I enjoyed it. And then at the same time, they're telling me not to do it. So this is the kind of thing that human beings have, is we have such a fucking like bipolar, you know.
So I know you for quite some time now, and then I know that you've always done podcasts or YouTube videos. What was different about this one? What was it, a feeling? Was it a response that you got? What was so different about this Ronin man?
I think the big difference is how I felt was there was no need to prepare anything.
Oh.
It was all inside of me. Hey, look, check out that squirrel. Oh, we just missed it. There was a cool squirrel going along this. He was just going along the top of the thing there. But yeah, so that was what it was. Is that everything was inside of me. It was like something. It was something that I gained from years and decades of experience, and it was stuff that I love to help people with. So I often found myself talking when guys are getting divorced, or when guys are getting fucked over by women, or when guys are either whatever, anything with women, relationships, money, being free, shit like that. Like the stuff that I talk about, that's the stuff I really like. And I thought, well, this is too disorganized, it's unprofessional, it's gonna ruin my career. But I thought, fuck it. I started recording. I did a couple of episodes, like I said, and then I put them up online. And then, you know, people started to fucking watch them. I started to get views, and I was like, whoa. And the reaction was very good too, because I was very afraid of the reaction, you know? I was afraid that they were gonna say, I don't know, like try to hunt me down or find out, you know what I mean? Like I was pretty fucking worried actually, you know, in the beginning. I was like, man, like what the hell is gonna happen with this? Is it gonna ruin my parents? What are they gonna think if they see it? You know, like what if the girls that I'm talking about find out about it? Like I don't wanna, you know, I really don't wanna ruin their life. Oh yeah, back one step. The key thing for me for this particular channel was, it was funny because I helped a friend. My friend, I had a bunch of YouTube channels, like I said, and they were successful. Some of them were quite viral actually. And so my friend said to me, he said, you know, I've been watching your videos and they're fucking good, you know, like I really like them. He said, and he was a friend of mine from Japan, so I'd known him for over 20 years. And he said, you know, I want to do a YouTube channel too. And I said, well, what topic do you want to do? And he goes, he's like, I want to do like flat earth and conspiracy shit. And I'm like, whoa, like that didn't even sound good to me at all. You know, I'm like, you know, he was retired with a couple $1 million, so it didn't really matter what people thought of him. And I knew he didn't have such a great relationship with his family. So it wasn't that, it was just like, I didn't think anybody believed in that stuff for real. So I was kind of like, you know, it didn't sound good to me, you know. So a lot of the good ideas, they don't sound good. That's the other thing, you know, and you're afraid of, you know. So what I did was I told him, I said, look, you want to start a channel, I'll help you, you know. So I helped him set up a channel, and what he did was he made it anonymous. So he used another name. He didn't use his real name, and he didn't use his face. And next thing I know, he'd come into Bangkok, because he lived kind of in Bangkok but kind of outside Bangkok, so he'd come in on Saturdays to see me. And every time I saw him, he had more subscribers. You know, he had more views, you know. Next thing, he shows up and I'm just sitting there. He's got 13,000 subscribers. He's only been doing it for 6 weeks. I mean, it was insane. He had 13,000 loyal subscribers.
Are you live streaming?
What's that?
Are you live streaming?
Yeah, no, this is recording, but it's gonna be up. It's gonna be up, man. So I was like, wait a second. One, this guy's legit. Two, he did this crazy topic. Three, he's getting this in. He was getting like $2,500 a month, like right off the bat from YouTube. Because I guess because his views were valuable. It depends on your channel topic, okay, how much you get from YouTube advertising, but he was getting a lot. And so I was like, holy shit. I said, wow, you can do an anonymous podcast. And you know, and then I started to look around and I saw the MGTOW niche, and I saw that people were like watching videos, and I started listening to some of the videos. I didn't really agree with them because a lot of them were really angry and like hateful and things like that. And I was like, I don't feel hateful. I don't feel like You know, like I don't feel that way.
I think the interesting angle that you offer, right, is that you had a choice to be different, because you had a lot of choices about, especially with women. You know what I mean? And that was probably the main difference, because you chose to live that way. It wasn't like thrown upon you by like society, or like you were, you know, you were fucked over, but you went through it and then still decided to go with that topic and that route, because it came from deep inside. No one pushed it on you. You know what I mean?
The topic itself, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I like to help guys, is basically what it is. I'd see guys getting fucked over and I was like, dude, you don't have to do that. You know, I also, just to let you know, I don't want to teach guys how to fuck over girls either. Like, you know, I want to make sure you're unblackmailable so that you don't get fucked over, right? That's what really inspires me. You know, if a girl asks me for advice, I can't help it. I'll give her good advice too about how not to get fucked over, you know? It's like, that's kind of what I get off on, you know, is helping people like not get fucked over, because I know that in life there's just so much risk and people don't see it. You got to have a lot of fucking experience before you see these things clearly, right? So
look at this. Do you know this?
What's
Over
that?
There? This pink wall?
No.
Do people just never ask questions? This is like, everyone has it on their Instagram, right?
Oh, really?
It's just some fucking wings on a fucking wall, and everyone, like, they stand in line for this shit.
So oh no, this is like the Hollywood Walk of Fame.
It's even worse.
They're taking pictures right there of the wall, and this is probably a Me Too type thing.
Oh.
It's definitely a Me Too. It's
At the right time of day, you will see a huge line in front of that thing.
No way.
Yeah.
This. Oh, look at.
That special. It doesn't even look that
Oh, look at the hashtag. Yeah, this is totally Me Too.
Yeah.
Do not shush me. That's I forgot who said that, but that's
like,
pretty famous.
You can find this wall on
Yeah.
Google. It's like it's a new fucking site. You know what I mean?
Okay. Right. If you want to bone a Me
They
Too
just don't ask questions. They just do it.
Yeah.
Because everyone does it.
Right. You just kind of do it, whatever. You just kind of like mindlessly go through life, right? There's always something for you to mindlessly do, right? That's a fucking good thing. Thanks for pointing that out. I had no idea.
Yeah.
And see, it's like the sidewalk, right?
Yeah.
Like, oh man. I do want to say one thing, that I like to have fun and I like to be playful. And if some guy wants to, you know, go across the country to look at a sidewalk, I got nothing against that. You know, because some things that don't mean much to other people mean a lot to me. So I'm not saying don't have fun. I'm not saying don't be playful.
What I'm saying is it probably doesn't mean anything to anyone. They just
Oh
do
yeah,
it,
of course. It's fucking meaningless, right? Fucking dudes are just doing shit that means fuck all, right?
Yeah.
They just do things because everybody else is fucking doing them, and then they just fucking copy everybody, right? That's exactly what happens. No, if you got a sidewalk, it means something to you, you know?
Yeah.
You know, fuck, you know, like that's fucking cool, you know?
That's the point. If it means something to you, truly, right?
Right.
That's kind of how we like revolve around the whole topic too. Because if it really means something to you, or if you think someone else thinks it's cool, or thinks you should do it, you know what I mean?
Oh yeah, it's so easy to do this kind of stuff. You don't even know how your mind is so hijackable, you know? It's just so hijackable with a new idea.
Yeah.
That's why you got to be careful who you hang out with too, because
who you idolize, or if you idolize anyone.
Oh yeah, dude. One of my main fucking mottos in life is I'm a fan of no man. You know.
Yeah.
I have people I look up to, but I'm a fan of no man. I'm not a fucking fan of anybody. You know. I mean, I definitely like I respect people, and if somebody does something cool, like Richard Feynman or some shit like that.
Was it different when you grew up? Was it different when you were young?
Oh yeah, when I was young, I was just clueless. I was just fucking just like everybody else. You know, I was like, I had Magic Johnson shoes. I paid a fortune for. Let's see, what else did I do? I wasn't never too much of a fan. Luckily I never got too deep into it, but it was still like the normal mindless shit, you know. So yeah, so let's go back to like what I did. So then after I had the channel, I was like, you know, I started to get views, and I thought, well, fuck it, I'll make number 3, right? The first 2 were kind of a package. Like, I kind of had no more ideas at number 3. I was kind of like, oh fuck, I don't know if I can keep going this. So I turned on the video camera. Sure enough, something came out. People liked it, and like it just kind of started up. And there, I found myself like, I'm the kind of guy who will throw my anything that I worked away on a moment's fucking notice. If I lose interest in a relationship, a job, a country, I will just throw it all away in 2 seconds. And I think that's the healthiest way to live myself. You know, do not fucking keep doing shit you don't want to do. As soon as you figure it out, get the fuck out. And that's one of the main modules is like the power of fucking leaving, right? So what happened was I found myself ready to leave Ronin Man, but I kept finding more juice. You know, I was like, and then I started getting comments, like real comments. In the beginning, the comments were not so good, or they were just kind of meaningless. Like, hey, you know, interesting and things like that. And then people started like writing real emails and comments to me. And I started to realize I was feeling a need. And then I remember the first time I got an email from a guy who said he was going to commit suicide. He said, I was going to commit suicide and I saw your channel. And after I saw your channel, I decided not to commit suicide, right? When I heard that the first time, I was like, fucking A, this is important, you know? And then I've gotten, since then, I've gotten a lot of emails like that. Guys that are seriously in pain. And like, I'm like, oh my God, like, you know, it makes me realize like there's real people with real problems that are fucking out there. And then that brought me to the next stage, you know, because then I'm like, holy shit, like this is important. Like, not only do I enjoy it, not only do I have the knowledge, but it's important.
So what you're saying basically is, I would almost categorize it as 70-30%, because what you did is you said, oh yeah, I like this topic, so I'll do some videos about it. But then you were like, I might just actually stop doing it.
Yeah.
I might just actually stop doing it. But then you got the right feedback, right? Right. Really meaningful feedback. So
yeah.
Feedback is super important. Is that what you're saying?
Oh, for sure. Because, you know, there's one thing is like, if I enjoy doing something, right, I might enjoy, you know, whatever, you know, but that doesn't mean that you can make money off of it, or that there's any kind of need. There's any kind of need for it by other people. So to have a successful business, you need a mix of things. But I want to say that the most important thing, and this is really important, is that you like it. And that you really, it gives you wood. Because
so even though you thought, maybe let's can this channel, you still had a feeling for it, right? You were still like loving it, right?
Oh, well, I'd be like, you know, walking around in my daily life, and all of a sudden I'd have an idea for a new episode.
Okay.
So I started to write down notes on this app, and I just had, so all of a sudden I started like building up all these fucking potential episodes, you know?
Yeah.
And then I would forget the topic, and then I would go back and I'd say, oh, I better do a Ronin Man. And then I'd look at it and I'd be like, oh, there's one, you know?
Here's a question, like a sincere question, okay? So I am a musician, and I've done music my whole life, but my biggest problem with that was never being able to pull one thing through, because I was like, oh, I like this, and I'm doing it, and it works, and I get some kind of response, but then I felt like inspired to do something else. So I think it's the same, it's a very similar with you. So how did you break through with that? How long did it take you to break through with that, to find really the thing and then really fucking pull it through?
I think that what happened with me is, the answer is not easy, right? The answer is not simple. The answer is not clean. You know, it's even worse than what you're saying, because there's one thing is how much you love it and how good you are at it, how much you have to give. But there's also people's reaction to it. And that's the hard part, is you can love something.
Because you have to be very honest about it.
Well, you might love, like, you know, masturbation or something, but it doesn't mean people are going to pay you to do it, right? So, you know, so that's the thing, and that's the difficult part, because most important is that you love it, because if you don't love it, you're not going to make the good stuff. You're gonna like, really, you're gonna waste your life.
So you're not gonna, you don't make any compromises.
So I don't make any compromises. No, but what I do is I'm always ready to leave. So I start a new topic. I have 5 channels, YouTube channels, and each one I kind of like thought they were going to be big, and then they kind of never did. One of them was very profitable actually, but in another niche, a business niche. But at the same time, it never went in. I didn't have that need. I wasn't helping people for real. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So I think that's the thing, is first do what you love. Find that thing that you want to get up and do a video. And I don't care if it's talking about like a review of porn movies. You know, you could do something like that. It doesn't. That's the other thing, is the thing that you love is probably going to be socially unacceptable. So that's the thing, like Ronin Man, right? It's like whatever you love, not for sure, but almost for sure, is going to be something that's edgy, no one's done before, it's totally unacceptable. Your mom would hate it, your girlfriend, your fucking friends, everybody would think you're crazy. That often is the thing that people want to hear about. You know, it's like you have to find that thing you love, give it a try, dig deep, and see if there's that need from the public, and then be ready to leave. So you have to kind of just be willing to try. You know, it's like you got to be willing to try and you got to be willing to quit. You can't be like, oh, you can't have two minds about things. This is the problem when people start businesses. They often say, like, they're like, basically they want to be an entrepreneur but they don't. right? They want to make money, but they want a salary. You know, they want to be independent, but they want somebody else to cover things for them, right? So you can't be like that. You got to break out. You're probably in the mindset still of being an employee, getting paid to take pictures and stuff and music, and then the next thing is where you're on your own totally, like no fucking safety net. You know, so you probably have that. That's the most common stopping point for entrepreneurs. Is that
So you're looking for someone to allow you to do what you do?
Well, no, they're scared of paying the bills.
Yeah.
Mainly, you know, they're like, fuck, if I don't make money, like, how am I going to live?
Well, that's a fucking real issue.
Yeah, it's a very real issue. But the thing is, what you got to do with that one, if you're not from a wealthy family, is what you have to do is you have to fucking start living on nothing. That's the most powerful thing you can do when you're starting a business. It's not minimalism. I'm talking like fucking eat cockroaches. I mean, whatever you got to fucking do to make it happen. If you have to steal a camera to do your first video, do it. You know what I mean? Like, seriously, like, I'm talking hardcore shit here. Like, life is short. You got to get it going, and you have to have a situation where you're not on a timeline to succeed too quickly, because you're just not gonna. It's not gonna happen today. Like a lot of businesses, like Ronin, man, I've been doing for.
That's some killer advice, man.
Like a year and a half now. Thank you. Yeah, for a year and a half I've been doing Ronin, man. I haven't made a single penny, but it's taken a year and a half of almost every day working on it, you know. And then finally now, I figured out what people need, and I've made something that I think can help people that would be worth way more than what it cost me to make and what I'm charging. So I think you have to have that long timeline, because if I would have tried to monetize, you know, any traffic in the beginning, nobody would have fucking bought it. It would have ruined the channel.
Of course.
You know, now there's people begging me to make stuff, so it's like now it's a good time to make stuff, because people are like, please, you know, I need some help with this, or I need help with that. And it's like, this is a good time for me to make stuff and try to help people, because if I would have done it earlier, I would have just ruined all my trust, really. So don't go too fast. And the way you don't go too fast.
So you waited until it felt right to create something, right?
Well, I waited, but I mean, I ate shit for a year and a half, basically, right?
Oh,
That's
yeah.
more important, is I didn't have any money coming in. People made fun of me. And this is what happens when you have a business, or when you're starting a business and you're not making any money. People actually make fun of you. They'll say you're a loser. They'll be like, why do you waste all your time on this? How are you gonna make money on that? You know, you're this age, you know, you fucking. This is the way people talk. This is the way my parents, everybody talks like this. So you gotta be ready to withstand some serious social shit. You know.
What about not telling anyone?
You can't not tell anyone, because you need feedback. You need to talk to people when you're making new business.
Especially people that know you already.
You need like real good feedback all the time on everything, you know. So you need somebody you need to be like real talkative.
Okay.
And don't be like a lot of people. Like, what they do is they're afraid of sharing ideas because they think everyone's going to copy them. Don't be like that. You can't be like that. Like,
Okay.
Someone copies me, you want to copy Ronin, man, it's totally fucking fine. Like, I know I provide killer value, and I know that people are happy when they see my stuff. So it's like, hey, how you doing? What's going on there? Oh, sneakers. Okay, cool. We will after the video, yeah. So, yeah, what was I just saying there? I just lost my train of thought there. Little sweetie pie there. Sweetie.
Fine, just because I actually lost my train of thought.
I know, little sweetie pie action. Yeah, you know, the thing is like, no matter how you live your life, like, it's still nice.
Feedback was a.
Oh, feedback. Oh, fucking feedback. Yeah. You need feedback on everything, you know? So make sure that you're living so cheap. Cans of beans, cabbage, raw garlic, you know, like oatmeal, you know, whatever it takes, you know, move into a friend's house, live on the couch, go somewhere. If you have the wherewithal to go to Thailand or a place where it's cheaper to live, that's a good place to start. You know, like one last thing that was really important.
Okay.
Before I started Ronin, man, what I did was I was a very social person, so yeah. I usually had like a lot of people around me. But before I come up with this idea, I needed peace and privacy. So I got a room. I rented a cheap room, and there was basically no windows, and it was my cave. It was my fucking cave, like, because I read these books of the ascetics back in, I don't know, the 1400s or whatever. These monks. Yeah. And they would sit in these caves for years. They'd come out with wisdom. So I said, I'm gonna sit in this fucking cave, and I'm gonna think, and I'm gonna create. I'm gonna write. I wrote poetry. I wrote new channels. I wrote blog posts. I studied different editing things and different software. I just sat there in my cave and I like ignored everybody. I wouldn't even leave my house till usually about 3 in the afternoon.
Did it all lead towards Ronin Man?
Yes, it did, actually. Yeah, it did. Because I was my room was $145 a month in Bangkok, and my landlord was really nice, so it wasn't like a bad situation, but it was just a very bare bones kind of place, right? Mm-hmm. So that super low cost, because I could eat for like $4 a day in Bangkok too, you know. So right near there's a lot of good street food, so I just go eat that, and I'd be back at work, coming up with ideas, right, mm-hmm. for my new whatever it is, you know. And I let my mind wander. I wrote poetry. I did all kinds of stuff. You know, I just kind of let my mind go. I'd work on something. And because my expenses were so low, I could afford to do that. Mm-hmm. And then after 3 o'clock, I would usually want to be social. So I'd leave my computer at home. I would just go out and meet friends, and I would just cruise around for the rest of the day. And then I would just kind of have fun until night. And then I wouldn't work until the next morning.
So you did talk about feedback, and that was actually what you just said was a very practical tip, right? But how do you avoid delusion? Because on the one hand you say, yeah, listen to other people, take their advice to some kind of extent, or like their feedback, but on the other hand, be like, you have to be basically bulletproof to their critique, right?
Right.
So how do you detect what's actually good feedback, what's just basically pissing you off because they don't have the balls to do it the way you do? Like, how do you detect what's actually good feedback?
Ooh.
And how do you not fall into your own delusions where you're like, no, I'm doing this.
Yeah,
I'm the best singer in the world. You know, I'm the next Britney Spears. You know, how do you not fall for a delusion?
Right.
Because you have to. That's a fickle thing.
Yeah.
You have to stay on track. Listen to advice. Listen to feedback, but also don't have it block you from anything. Because some of the feedback might be bullshit because they just basically are jealous of the way that you can do it. Right?
It smells like weed.
It does.
What I think. The most important thing I personally did, was I hung out with smart guys. I hung out with very smart guys. You know, I already had a good group of friends in Bangkok. All of them were very smart guys, like all of them in different fields. And like I could throw ideas at them, and it wasn't like throwing it into a hole of mud, you know? It was like they would sit there and maybe they wouldn't respond right away, but they'd come back later and be like, okay, I thought about what you said, and they had, each guy that I hung out with had a very unique way of thinking. So they were not Me Too kind of guys.
Oh, okay.
They were not like yes men. Like they were the kind of guys that say, I think that's totally stupid. Like I would tell them some impassioned idea I've been thinking about for a month, and they'd say, I think that's stupid. I don't think that worked at all because you're full of shit on this one thing, you know? And I'd be like, ooh, you know, so...
Those guys are hard to find, man. Because even if you have a good friend that you consider a really good friend that knows you well,
yeah,
sometimes they just don't want to hurt you.
Yeah. Well, I think what you do with that on that front is you have to create a culture where people can tell you that you're wrong.
So you're radically honest the whole time.
You have to create a culture so your friends are comfortable. They know that, like, when I'm wrong, and I even say this on Ronin Man channel, is that I want to be wrong. Like I want to be wrong sometimes, you know? Like I want you, if you're listening and I say something that's incorrect, I want you to tell me that's incorrect, right? Because otherwise I don't learn anything. And I said that in one of my first videos, and people would start to comment and they thought I was gonna bite their head off, because most people do on YouTube.
Yeah.
And I didn't. I was like, oh, you know, you're right about that. Like I had one video called Cheap Sex, which the video, I accidentally uploaded it, like I didn't even mean to. It wasn't even finished. And I didn't like it, and I didn't even get to the main point of it. But I had to hit upload because I thought it was finished. I couldn't remember. So I uploaded it. And then people started commenting that it sucked. And then I wrote underneath, I said, yeah, you're right, this totally sucks.
Oh, okay.
Like I uploaded this on accident. Sorry about that. And then they'd say, why do you keep it up? I'd say, well, you know, it's up now. I'm not the kind of guy who hides things. So I'm gonna leave this piece of shit episode up and just
get some honest feedback.
Yeah, get some honest feedback. You know, I'm not always right. I'm not always perfect, you know.
And that'll show you actually too. That's pretty cool. You could actually, I don't know if that's a thing, but you could probably even test your friends with putting out something quite shitty, an idea that's quite shitty, and see if they're just yes man, or if they agree with what you say, or if they're like, man, to be honest, most of your stuff is really solid, but this is actually quite shit. You know what I mean?
Right. Well, here's the thing. To answer your question totally.
Yeah.
There's two things. I have two groups of friends. Okay, I have one group of friends in real life, and my other friends are in real life, but they're online on my channel.
Yeah.
So
you consider your followers somewhat friends?
Yeah, because that's why they listen, because they groove with my ideas, you know? So it's like, I groove with them too, you know? And often they have ideas that I can use and help me, right? So I think that the advantage of having a YouTube channel, one of the biggest advantages, is that if you have any flaws, people are gonna point it out for you. And especially if you have controversial topic, then people are just gonna try to burn you to the ground, even though, you know, you didn't really do that much bad, but you maybe said, like I say, you know, too many times, and I realize that now, you know. And I don't edit my videos because I want to put the true, you know, me out there. So that's the other thing I did. Oh yeah, that's a big thing, is people will tell you how to do a business. They'll say, oh, you got to have a certain camera, you got to edit videos, you got to learn how to do this, you got to do this, you got to have them a certain length, they can't be too long, no one will watch them. They're gonna give you all this advice. My videos are very in depth, and the guys, you guys, they're listening, you guys love them. And I love them too. I listen to long videos, you know. I like to, if there's a fucking topic, I want to understand it. Like a 1 minute video does not help me to understand something in depth. Like, you know what I mean? Cybersecurity risks with China or something, you know. A 1 minute video is not going to give me the knowledge base that I need. And with the topics that we're talking about, like men's issues, this shit is complicated. You know, it's like your life out there, you know. One mistake can cost, like I said, $1 million in child support. So it's really important that you get, this is why I think, personally, I think YouTube channels are so valuable, because you become a better person, really, because you get criticized by people from all over. And it's the same thing with the guys who comment. Anybody who comments on my videos, they also get criticized. And that's the position you want to be in. You want to be like a person who's, you know, you're a thought leader, but you're willing to take a risk, and you can take criticism, and when they're wrong, you're going to admit it. This is the secret to success, because what it does is, it's like a knife, right? It's sharpening you every time. You know, every time I tell a story that I told before, and someone on my YouTube channel says, no, actually the date was not 1964, it was 1973. I'll be like, holy shit, I've been telling that story forever, you know? Yeah. And then so it helps me to get my facts straight. It helps me to see other points of view, because sometimes people will say something like, you know, that's true for you, but it's not true for everybody. For me, I'm different. And then I'm like, oh wow, you know, like, oh right, I never even thought of that kind of perspective, or that kind of, you know, someone living that kind of life. So so I think that's the other thing that's really important, is that for me, like, YouTube is a great way to get a lot of feedback from people that are not afraid of saying something negative, because, you know, your friends are probably a little afraid, but people on YouTube, trust me, are not afraid of saying something negative, and that's good. That's very good.
So how long did it take you to become really radically honest with yourself?
About what? Like what?
About everything, man. Like, seriously, about your flaws, because that's what you basically just said. About what you're good at, what you're not good at.
I think it's a muscle that you build.
Yeah.
And it's a confidence that you have. You start to, you know, I think I got started with it with 12-step programs. I went to AA and NA when I was 21 years old.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
And that was a long time ago, right? That was over 30 years ago. And so you do something called an inventory. So I did my inventory, and
can you just explain it for just, because I want to know?
Yeah, you're basically writing down your character flaws. You're writing down things that you did and who it hurt. And
the more accurate you are, probably the more it helps, right?
Well, you have to be accurate. Yeah, otherwise you don't get any change in life. So we would do that, and then we had to go and make amends. So I had to go and give money back to people. Oh. I had to go and say I was sorry, you know, for being a bad son to my dad, and I had to go, even though he wasn't, you know, he had his faults, but I had to do my side of the street. They call it like clean up your side of the street. Don't worry about the other ones.
Oh, that's great.
You know, so like that helped me a lot. But you know, the thing is though, is that even though 12-step groups helped me a lot, they weren't, you know, if you stay in any of these groups long enough, you'll find that you still, of course, you still gain a lot from being there, but you need more in-depth stuff as you get. So I got mainly my inventory cleaned up back when I was 22, and that also put me on notice. So when I was going to do something bad, I think to myself, fuck, I just got to make amends anyway. You know what I mean? My sponsor's going to make me make amends anyway. So don't do it, you know? You know what I mean? I got to tell them and do it anyway. Otherwise I'll fucking start drinking, or, you know, get into drugs again. So that was kind of the motivator for me. But now at this age, I look at the inventory that you know, most people do in the program, and it's not deep enough for me. I need way more self-honesty, way more. You know, I need way more. I need to tell way more people so that I can get way more perspectives. Because the guy listening, if you're telling one guy a story, he's gonna have a perspective. But if you tell 100,000 guys a story, it's like all of a sudden, you know,
becomes accurate.
It becomes very fucking accurate, and from every angle. And you'll be able to spot the crazy ones from the good ones.
Yeah.
So don't be putting yourself out there is one of the greatest things you can do for your own self. So it's not just about starting a business. It's also about using modern tools to sharpen your own sword in a way that we could never do before. Even on TV, like in the old days, if you were on TV and you let's say you're on CBS or something, right? In the old days, like they would edit the shit out of it, so you know you wouldn't make mistakes, right? You're on the Johnny Carson show, they're going to cut you off if you say anything that's not cool, right?
Yeah.
Make any mistake. Whereas with YouTube, you're fucking out there, right? And when you're blogging and stuff. So I think for me, that is one of my most important tools. And that's where my friends become less and less valuable in real life, and my online friends become more and more valuable.
Because of the sheer number, right? You couldn't have 5,000 real friends.
Well, it's not just the sheer number. I actually think that when you put yourself out there, like, okay, I can only be friends with so many guys. Like, we're passing by people right now. I can be friends with these people, right? They're near me, right? But there's not that many to choose from. You know?
Yeah.
Whereas online, if you put something online...
Yeah, the first filter is already the topic, right? That you talk about. You already know that you're at least at some sort of on the same wavelength.
Yeah. Yeah, they're looking at it because they're looking for help in this area, or they consider themselves an expert, or, you know, they're interested in it in some way, right? Whereas... it's kind of like if you're trying to sell something, like say you go to your neighbor and you try to sell him solar panels. The odds he's going to buy it are low, but if you make a YouTube channel about solar panels because you love them, someone's going to watch the video and contact you that actually wants to buy solar panels. Yeah. So you don't have to convince the guy to buy.
He was already looking for it, yeah.
Yeah, he was already interested. So that's the big difference about YouTube. It's so cool. That's why I really think YouTube is the way to go, because it's free, and you know you don't have to pay a hosting fee. No one takes it down. I mean, of course, some MGTOW channels got taken down, but you know, there are certain topics that get taken down. But in general, YouTube is a great way to get your message out there. It's a great way. It's an excellent method for distributing your ideas and for sharpening your ideas. Building a community, helping people, all that stuff. YouTube is awesome for that. Yeah, so that's about it. And I think after you get this thing, and after you own it, and then you start getting like feedback from real people, then the next step is to talk to different smart people, and then just start to I'll give you one example. Like my friend the other day, I motivated him in Bangkok. I motivated him to do something like I was doing, and so he was going to make a YouTube channel, but he wasn't good at making videos. So he said, I'm not good at this, you know. So he stopped making them. And then I was like, okay, well, he's like, what can I do? I'm like, I'm not sure. Next thing I know, he said, hey, I'm on Quora, and I already got 59,000 views in a week from my advice.
Oh, Quora is where you answer a question, you basically type an answer, right?
Yeah, and this guy's really smart, but he's not good on video.
And then people upvote your answer, is that right?
Right. So now he's only been doing it for like a week and a half now, this as I speak. And he had 59,000 views the first week of his answers. So I said, look, what you got to do is you got to Google how to monetize Quora followings. And he did. And then he said, what's something that I was really proud of, he said, I'm not ready. I'm going to keep building my audience and building and building and building until I'm ready, you know, that I know what they want and I can help them, right?
Yeah.
So that's what I did with Ronin, man, and that's the smart way to go. The kind of knee-jerk thing is, oh, I got people watching, oh, let's sell, because you want to make money. You got to pay bills. Everyone's got to pay bills. That's not a big mystery. But if you want to succeed in today's world, it's not like the old days where you can push things on people. You got to provide fucking serious value, and that's why you have to love it. You got to be digging deep inside yourself, you know? Digging fucking deep, man. That's the way to go. Dig so deep that you're afraid it's going to ruin your life. You know?
That's hardcore stuff, man.
That's what I did. That's what happened with Ronin, man. Big time. So, I hope that's... any questions? Any more questions you got there?
No.
Okay. All right, guys. Well, thanks for listening to the... what do you call this? Not find your bliss, but like how to... What do we call this?
The thing.
The thing. Finding the thing, right? So good luck, guys. Any questions, put them in the forum. You know, finding your thing is the most important thing about starting a business today. It's no longer a day when you can just start selling toilets and make a living. You got to find shit that matters, shit that you're into, right? All right, guys, thanks for watching.